last for generations. In the center of these cities were bustling marketplaces. Merchants sold pottery, metals, textiles, and food brought from distant lands. Traders from neighboring regions arrived with rare goods, turning the empire into a powerful center of commerce. Beyond the markets, life followed the rhythm of tradition and belief. Priests led ceremonies in towering temples, offering rituals to the gods who were believed to control the forces of nature. Festivals filled the streets with music, fire, and sacred processions. Carefully built irrigation systems carried water across the land, allowing crops to flourish even in difficult seasons. Meanwhile, warriors trained to defend the empire, armed with shields. Wind moves softly through the broken stones of a forgotten city. Massive temples stand silent, their walls cracked by centuries of time. Long ago, this was the heart of a powerful empire, a civilization of kings, warriors, engineers, and builders who shaped a world of towering monuments and thriving cities. In what seems like a single moment in history, the empire vanished. Its cities were abandoned, its temples left to the jungle and the desert. No records of a final battle, no clear sign of what forced millions to disappear. Even today, archaeologists and historians are still searching for answers. How can an empire powerful enough to build monuments that survived thousands of years simply vanish? For centuries, the ruins of this lost empire remained hidden from the world. Dense jungles, shifting sands, and the slow passage of time buried its cities and temples beneath layers of earth and vegetation. To the outside world, the empire had simply faded from memory. Then explorers began to notice strange clues. Travelers spoke of massive stone structures deep within remote landscapes. Local stories described ancient cities swallowed by nature. In the late modern era, archaeologists finally began to investigate. What they found shocked the world. Hidden beneath thick forests and forgotten valleys were the remains of enormous cities, vast stone temples, towering pyramids, and complex networks of roads. The ruins revealed a civilization far larger and more advanced than anyone had imagined. Scattered among the broken walls were ancient artifacts, tools, statues, pottery, and carvings that hinted at a sophisticated culture. But the deeper researchers looked, the more mysterious the discovery became. Because while the cities were magnificent, they were completely empty. Long before the empire vanished, it began as something small. A group of settlers arrived in a fertile land surrounded by rivers, forests, and open plains. The land offered food, water, and protection, the perfect place for a new civilization to grow. Over generations, small villages slowly transformed into thriving towns. Strong leaders emerged, uniting scattered communities under one banner. They organized labor, built irrigation systems, and constructed the first great temples of the rising empire. As the population grew, so did ambition. New roads connected distant regions. Merchants traveled across mountains and deserts, trading goods, metals, and rare resources with neighboring cultures. Markets flourished, and the empire's influence spread far beyond its original homeland. But prosperity required protection. The rulers built a powerful military. Fortified walls rose around major settlements. Disciplined warriors trained to defend their cities and expand their territory. And armies marched across surrounding lands. Within a few centuries, what had once been a small settlement had become one of the most powerful civilizations of its time. Its cities grew larger, its monuments rose higher, and its empire stretched farther than anyone had imagined. But great ambition often comes with a hidden cost. At its height, the empire was a world of movement, sound, and activity. Massive cities rose from the landscape, filled with stone temples, towering walls, and wide streets crowded with people. Skilled architects and engineers designed structures meant to hold spears and discipline. They protected the cities and the wealth they had built. Outside the city walls, farmers worked vast fields that fed the growing population. From engineering to religion, trade to agriculture, every part of society worked together to sustain the power of the empire. For generations, it seemed unstoppable. At the peak of its power, the empire achieved feats that amazed the ancient world. Across its territory rose monumental architecture, vast temples, massive pyramids, and towering stone structures built with astonishing precision. These monuments were not only symbols of power, but also proof of remarkable engineering and organization. The empire's builders mastered stonework, mathematics, and urban planning. Cities Cities were carefully designed with roads, plazas, test of time, but their achievements were not limited to architecture. Scholars and priests studied the movements of the stars, developing early knowledge of astronomy and calendars that guided agriculture, rituals, and daily life. Their culture spread across distant lands through trade, migration, and influence. Art, language, religious traditions, and technology traveled far beyond the empire's borders. Great cities became the centers of this powerful civilization, thriving hubs of culture, politics, and innovation. From towering monuments to scientific understanding, the empire shaped the world around it, and for centuries it seemed as if its legacy would last forever. Even the mightiest empires are not immune to the forces that time and nature bring. For this lost empire, the seeds of decline appeared slowly, yet with devastating effects. Some historians point to war, conflicts with neighboring kingdoms, or internal rebellions that drained the empire's wealth and soldiers. Fortresses that once stood impregnable now fell to attack or were abandoned. Others see nature as the enemy. Floods, earthquakes, or prolonged droughts may have destroyed crops, weakened cities, and forced people to flee. Changing climate patterns could have shifted fertile lands into barren fields, making survival increasingly difficult. Political instability also played a role. Weak leaders or succession crises may have fractured the central government, leaving provinces without guidance and armies without command. Disease could have spread silently through dense cities, taking a toll on populations already stressed by famine or conflict. Each theory alone is compelling. Together, they paint a picture of a civilization slowly unraveling, no longer able to sustain the grandeur it had once achieved. And yet, despite these hardships, the empire's monuments and cities stood, silent witnesses to a society in decline. And then, as if the empire had simply faded from the earth, it disappeared. The bustling streets grew silent. Markets that once overflowed with goods lay empty. Temples and palaces stood intact, yet their halls echoed only with wind. Historians have found cities abandoned overnight, with food left on tables, tools still in workshops, and doors left wide open. Families, workers, and warriors all gone, leaving only stone and dust behind. What could have forced an entire population to vanish? Was it fear, famine, war, or something even more mysterious? No records remain to explain the sudden exodus, no evidence of mass graves, only the remnants. Temples, monuments, and streets remain as silent witnesses to lives that once thrived. It is a disappearance that continues to baffle the world, a civilization that built wonders yet left no trace of its people. And then, as if the empire had simply faded from the earth, it disappeared. The bustling streets grew silent. Markets that once overflowed with goods lay empty. Temples and palaces stood intact, yet their halls echoed only with wind. Historians have found cities abandoned overnight, with food left on tables, tools still in workshops, and doors left wide open. Families, workers, and warriors all gone, leaving only stone and dust behind. What could have forced an entire population to vanish? Was it fear, famine, war, or something even more mysterious? No records remain to explain the sudden exodus, no evidence of mass graves. Only the remnants, temples, monuments, and streets remain as silent witnesses to lives that once thrived. It is a disappearance that continues to baffle the world. Centuries later, the remnants of the empire still stand, silent, weathered, and mysterious. Modern archaeologists walk the same streets that once teemed with life, carefully excavating temples, palaces, and marketplaces. Every stone, every artifact tells a story of a civilization that was once vibrant and powerful. Today, technology has unlocked secrets the ancients never imagined. Ground-penetrating radar reveals hidden structures beneath the earth. Drones capture sprawling cities from the sky, mapping streets and plazas long forgotten. 3D reconstruction brings monuments and temples back to life, showing the scale and sophistication of an empire lost to time. Even the mightiest empires, built with ambition, ingenuity, and blood, are not eternal. Their walls crumble, their streets fall silent, their people vanish, and yet the stones remain. The monuments, temples, and ruins continue to tell their story. A story of greatness, of mystery, and of a civilization that once thrived, now lost to the ages.